What did that beach do at your wedding? Before we dig into it, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Story 1. I get angry just thinking about this. It was my husband's best friend's mom who was not invited but showed up anyway and brought a bunch of small children with her. It was explicitly a no exceptions wedding. Tried to sit at the same table as me and tried to take pictures of me while I was eating, and loudly criticized one of the caterers because she thought she saw him put a used spoon into a buffet dish he didn't. My mom, who is pretty blunt, straight up asked her, "Who are you and why are you here?" I personally addressed all the invitations and I know we didn't invite you, to which she replied, "Well, my son needed a ride." My mom told her to leave, which was so unbelievably awkward, but she left without making more of a scene. Story 2. My mother-in-law changed our reception venue behind my back. Luckily, I found out and was able to get it changed back. This was my first introduction to her boundary issues. I have since learned that if she thinks there is even the slightest chance that someone won't do what she wants, then she feels completely entitled to use whatever means necessary to get her way. I think she legitimately believes that people who won't do what she wants are purposely being mean to her. She also passed out dollar store glow necklaces at our reception. She didn't ask me or anything. Of course, it was a complete surprise to see her handing out glow necklaces as wedding favors. Story 3. At my brother's wedding, his mother-in-law sat her 11 last-minute guests at our guest table because she clearly did not give a frick about my family's guests. We couldn't add another table because we were at the max tables that would fit in the venue, so I had to ask the reception venue staff to add chairs to our other tables, which overcrowded our other tables and fricked up our seating chart. This mother-in-law cast me off saying, "No, you cannot have 13 people to a table, it's unlucky." Then, beach, "Why did you steal our table?" Hardy fucking dumbass, superstitious beach. What the hell were we supposed to do? Ask our guests to leave? I completely ignored her, turned to the staff member and had them add the chairs anyway. Okay, I'm done ranting. Story 4. Nothing. You know why? Because we freaking eloped and didn't give her and her league of fail a chance to mess it up. Story 6. My mother, my sew and I ended up doing a courthouse-type marriage, did the papers, found someone to marry us, went to her office to do it. The only people there were my ex-stepdad, I call him bonus dad, mum, aunt, uncle and grandmother. My mom was my maid of honor. Bonus dad was my best man. Right in the middle of our vows, my mom breaks down, sobbing, interrupting everything. The beach is obviously trying to get the attention on her. Since she can't seem to stand not being the middle of everything, we try to continue over her sobbing but only starts crying louder. My aunt, being the amazing person she is, grabbed the ring from my mom, pushed her towards my uncle who pretty much dragged her outside. Aunt quickly announced she's the maid of honor now, which I was completely fine with, and the vows carried on. After signing everything, we go out to get to the car and my mom is just furious at me for letting your aunt do that. I just ignored her and went to the car on the upside. When we were saying our vows, bonus dad started tearing up. It made me happy because it was super unlike him, kinda guy who never says I love you, because that's just him. Ex-first sergeant served from 1972 to 2007. Manly man, I love you. Bonus dad, frick you mom. Story 7. If I wasn't around, she was hanging off of my husband and trying to get him to only pay attention to her and do shots. They don't talk now because I will cut her. Story 8. She deliberately took forever to get ready and started a fight with her boyfriend, my husband's best friend and best man, right before the wedding. They showed up late because of the whole thing, which caused our whole wedding ceremony to be 20 minutes late. It is well known that she doesn't like me, so it was obviously a power play and done on purpose. She then didn't talk to me once during the entire wedding. It felt very awkward. I have one photo of me on the dance floor and she is in the background giving me the worst stink eye. Story 9. She wore white and spent the entire time talking about her own upcoming wedding, her second wedding. Story 10. Her jackass cousin tackled her, the bride, in her wedding dress. I approached him and asked something like, "Why did you do that? She's in her dress." He looked down, walked away to leave and muttered, "I was just freaking around." Story 11. Not a beach. A cunt little guy, big mouth, was a really close friend until at my wedding. He stood in front of my mum when we were cutting the cake and proceeded to give her the finger when she asked him to move over a little. Just after that, while my dad was taking photos of me and my wife cutting the cake, he keeps nudging my dad's arm so he would get a shaky photo. My dad gave him a swift elbow to say frickin' stop, then said cunt stamps on my dad's foot. My dad loses it, pushes him out of the door to my father-in-law, who then pushes him further outside to his brother, who is a big guy and an ex-bouncer, picks him up by the collar and slaps him around the face a couple of times and drops him on the floor. Cops were called because he wouldn't calm down and had a night in the cells. I don't speak to him anymore. If you are reading this, Ricky, you are a cunt.